The Miami real estate market is heading into one of the most misunderstood years we've seen in a long time. From the outside, everything looks strong. Prices are high, Miami is still in demand, and cash buyers are still very active. But under the surface, the market is splitting, and most buyers and sellers, they don't see it yet. Here's why this matters. Inventory is rising, but not evenly. Some parts of Miami are normalizing quickly. Others remain extremely tight. Condos and single-family homes are moving in very different directions. Insurance, flood exposure, and monthly carrying costs are now shaping decisions, more so than list prices. I'm Milton Andrade. I work with high net worth buyers, relocating executives, and families moving throughout South Florida. My job is helping clients understand where Miami is cooling and where it's holding, and how to position themselves correctly before making a move. So before we talk neighborhoods or opportunities, we need to look at what's actually happening across the Miami-Dade market and how the balance between buyers and sellers has quietly changed. The market looks strong, but the balance has shifted. Miami still looks strong at a glance, but the balance between buyers and sellers is no longer the same across the board. The market is separating by property type, price range, and location. Inventory is rising, but unevenly. Single-family home inventory has increased compared to last year. It's moved roughly in balanced territory. Condos and townhomes have seen a much sharper rise in inventory. That means condo buyers are facing significantly more competition between sellers. Miami's no longer a one-speed market. Homes are also taking longer to go under contract. Buyer urgency has cooled compared to the frenzy years. That doesn't mean that demand is gone. It means buyers are more selective. They compare more. They negotiate more. Prices are also splitting depending on property type. Single-family homes have held their value better. Condos are facing more downward pressure. Supply levels, special assessments, and rising ownership costs are major reasons why. Here's the big takeaway. This is not a boom. This is a sorting market. Well-positioned single-family homes in desirable areas are still moving. Condos with higher fees, assessment exposure, or weaker locations are taking longer and facing more resistance. If you're buying, this means more choices and more negotiating power in certain segments, especially condos. Now, if you're selling, pricing and positioning matter more today than they did 2 years ago. Buyers are no longer rushing. The biggest affordability shock in Miami right now is not the list price, it's the monthly cost. 2 homes can have the same price, but completely different real ownership costs. Once insurance, flood exposure, HOA fees, and assessments are factored in. And this is where many buyers miscalculate. Insurance has reshaped affordability throughout South Florida. Premiums increased dramatically between 2022 and 2024. While increases have slowed, costs remain far above what buyers were used to before 2020. Today, sophisticated buyers underwrite insurance before writing offers, because a home that looks affordable on paper can quickly become unworkable once insurance is added. Flood risk has also changed dramatically. Flood insurance is now priced on individual property characteristics. Elevation matters, distance to water matters, construction type matters, rebuild cost matters. So 2 homes on the same street can have completely different flood premiums. Buyers who skip flood quotes early are often surprised later during the contract. Condo assessments are another major pressure point. Post-Surfside legislation requires structural inspections and stronger reserve funding. Many buildings are raising HOA fees or issuing special assessments to comply. Older waterfront buildings are especially exposed. And this is one of the main reasons condo inventory has risen. Buyers are now evaluating not just today's HOA fees, but future increases. Monthly ownership cost is now the real decision filter in Miami. Buyers are shopping based on total monthly obligation, insurance plus flood premiums, HOA fees, and assessment risk, maintenance exposure tied to age and location. That's why some listings sit, while others move quickly, even at similar prices. Homes are no longer punished just for price. They're punished for unpredictable ownership costs. Miami is not entering a sharp downturn, but the phase of easy, broad-based price growth is over. In 2026, price improvement depends far more on property type, location, and ownership cost than overall market momentum. At the county level, pricing looks stable, but that stability hides important differences underneath. Single-family pricing has shown modest increases. Condo pricing has softened in several recent reports. That tells us the market is no longer lifting all property types equally. Days on market also confirm a slower tempo. Homes are taking longer to sell. That slower pace means buyers compare more, sellers compete more. Negotiation is normal again. Miami has become a segmented pricing environment where well-located single-family homes with predictable insurance costs are holding value best, and condos with high HOA fees, assessments, or unclear reserves face more resistance. Waterfront still commands a premium, but buyers are far more selective. Inventory levels also cap pricing pressure. When buyers have alternatives, price increases become harder to justify. Luxury pricing requires especially careful interpretation because fewer sales can make data look volatile. One large transaction can distort averages, and that's why true comparable sales matter more than the headlines. For buyers, well, you no longer need to chase appreciation. Focus on buying the right property at the right monthly cost. Long-term desirability drives upside now. And for sellers, well, pricing for yesterday's market creates longer days on market. Homes priced correctly and easily to underwrite, they still sell. Others sit and adjust, chasing the market. What buyers and sellers should expect in 2026? Miami is no longer a market driven by urgency. It is now a market driven by comparison, clarity, and execution. Here's what buyers can expect: more choice, more time, and more control. Buyers can compare listings, ask questions, and negotiate intelligently. This doesn't mean buyers can move slowly forever. It means the pressure to act blindly is gone. Negotiation today is about terms, not just price. Buyers are gaining leverage through credits, inspection repairs, timeline flexibility, ownership costs, and adjustments. The strongest leverage comes from being prepared and decisive, not aggressive. Successful buyers are underwriting insurance and flood costs, HOA and assessment exposure. So two homes with similar prices can feel dramatically different once full monthly cost is calculated. Here's the winning buyer mindset. Be prepared, not rushed. Compare options. Walk away when numbers don't work. Move quickly when the right property appears, because speed still matters. Panic does not. And here's what sellers can expect. Buyers are comparing everything: total monthly cost, insurance exposure, HOA and assessment risk, condition, and future maintenance. If your property is harder to underwrite than competing listings, it will sit longer. Pricing realism matters more than ever. Homes priced to 2021 expectations lose momentum quickly. Homes priced for today's reality, they attract serious buyers faster, even without bidding wars. Flexibility beats stubbornness. Successful sellers are open to credits, proactive with inspections, realistic about days on market, focused on clean transactions, and with a winning seller mindset, you're pricing for today. Reducing uncertainty, focus on ease. Understand negotiation is normal again. You're no longer selling into fear. You're selling into choice. Miami isn't breaking, but it is changing. Inventory is higher in certain segments. Prices are no longer running on autopilot. Monthly ownership costs matter more than the headlines. And buyers and sellers who treat this market like the last few years, they're the ones getting stuck. In 2026, the difference between a great outcome and a frustrating one comes down to understanding which Miami market you're in, not just how much you're spending. I'm Milton Andrade. I work with buyers, sellers, and relocating families who want clear direction in a market that's no longer simple. If you're planning to buy or sell in Miami in 2026, the smartest move is getting positioned early, before emotions take over, before you fall in love with the wrong property, or price a home for a market that no longer exists. My contact information is below. And if you want to continue learning how different parts of Miami are behaving right now, watch this next video here.